Too many veterans are underrated by the VA for their individual conditions. Today, I'm going to break down the number one reason why this happens and what you can do to turn it around and get an increased rating. By the end of this video, I'm hoping that you'll know what that most common trap is, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to avoid it with just a few changes in how you look at your VA disability claim. And before jumping into this, I want you to know that this frustration isn't just yours alone. This is shared with all kinds of veterans who are given service connection for something, but maybe they get a lower rating than what they really anticipated. I think a lot of veterans feel that the VA should be at fault for this, that the VA should know how to rate them. But quite honestly, this is common and this is solvable. And I'm going to break right into why this problem exists and just the number one reason why it happens. And that is simply that there's a lack of detailed medical and non-medical evidence and documentation that reaches the VA's rating schedule. Now, why is that? What do we need to know to fix that? Well, first of all, you need to know that the VA uses a handbook or a guide or a law or a rule book, and it's called the 38 CFR. And inside the 38 CFR, it has every single condition that the VA gives ratings for. And in each one of those, it breaks down to what the VA's specific criteria will be for that condition. And I think we all know that we're going to be given a rating for something. And the good news in this video is you're wondering why you were lowballed by the VA, which means you actually got this disability connected or service connected. So that's a good sign. So really, this is an easy problem to fix. We're going to try and increase this. So in order to do that, you need to know what the VA considers or what their criteria is at each level: 10%, 30%, 50%, 70%, and 100%. If you have a disability that's service connected, you're going to get a rating somewhere in between there, depending on what the criteria is. Most disabilities, most conditions have a multi-tiered rating criteria. So there is a possibility to go from a 10 to a 30 to a 50 to a 70. There are very few that only have one rating criteria, one percentage. Tinnitus is a good common one. It's only rated at 10%. You can't get any higher than that. But it's very important that you know that the VA does use that rating criteria. Now, you can go into 38 CFR and look for your condition and look at the stairs there for the different percentages, 10, 30, 50. Or you can just simply Google your condition and VA disability rating criteria and find out what those different ones are. And of course, it's important for me to say that if your symptoms or whatever it is isn't clearly documented in your VA or with the evidence that you submit, the VA can only go by what you have on paper. So if you're not giving them the evidence for them to match it up with the criteria, you're really asking for a lower rating. So, and some of you might argue with me and say, well, those CMP exams, they should be an opportunity for vets to say what they want to say and get all of that information over to the examiner. And you're right, they should. But a lot of times, and I'm thinking of myself here, is you go into those CMP exams and you downplay your symptoms and you don't maybe do a good job advocating for yourself and truly represent how things are bothering you. And that's why I always say that it's important for you to understand yourself and your condition and how it impacts you, and make sure that you have all of that on paper so that when you walk into the CMP exam, it's simple. You look at your paper and you talk to the CMP examiner about it, and then at that point, they can do a really good job, hopefully, of documenting that right. So, that is super important, and that's kind of how you fix that. So what do you do about this? You've been denied, or you've been given a rating by the VA. You feel like you are underrated and you want to get a higher rating. We just talked about how to go over the 38 CFR or to simply Google your condition and VA rating disability criteria and you notice that your symptoms or whatever criteria they use matches up with, let's say, an increased rating to 30%. So what are so that's your first action item, right? That's the first thing you need to do, is know that criteria and know where you fall. Then what you want to do is you want to figure out what evidence you're going to need to support your theory, or to support your reasoning for being at that percentage to get that increase. And you're going to want to go out and you're going to want to get evidence. Now, they can be medical evidence, it can be non-medical evidence, whatever it is, but you want to make sure that evidence accurately talks about that. If you go to the doctor and you say, hey, I want to get an increase, and I need to document certain things, and the doctor just looks at you and does an exam, but your personal doctor doesn't know what to ask you, and you don't know what to tell them, and you simply just go back and you just have a piece of paper that you went back to the doctor because you're having headaches again. If you forget to put on there that you're having a certain number of headaches a month and how it impacts you, your rating is going to be the same. It might even be decreased. Other medical evidence or other evidence you can get is non-medical evidence. A personal statement can go so far in really helping the VA rater understand where your symptoms are. There's just so many different options, so many different pieces of medical evidence and non-medical evidence that you can include in your claim. And then you can bring that medical evidence, package it up in a bow, submit it, and have notes for when you go to your CMP exam, and be able to have a good experience at that CMP exam, hopefully, and be able to articulate what it is that the CMP examiner needs to know, so they can put that in your notes, and that can be pushed over to the VA for an overall picture, which should help you get your increase for that condition. These action steps that I just gave you are really just a sampling of a free course that I created. I have a few modules on my website. It's free to access. It's free for you. If you want a copy of it, or if you want the link, you can comment in the comment section down below, increase, and I'll send you that link. Or you can just simply go to informedveteran.com. That's there. This is a 4-module course type thing that I put together on my thoughts on how you can get a single disability condition increased. And it kind of goes over some of the things here that I talked about, but it digs in a little bit deeper, and it's all on paper so you can read it. It actually helps you develop a strategy on your own. And then when you get that strategy, you can bring it to your VSO. You can talk to your VSO about it. But that's something that I put out there for you. Take advantage of it. Again, if you type in increase down below in the comment section, I'll give you a direct link. Otherwise, just go to my website and check it out.